Yeah, shout out to the boy Nat for that.
Always,
Be the stuff, man.
always, always. Shout out to the boy.
Yeah, X-Gen Thoughts. Check my man out on YouTube.
Turner.
So before we get started, I know you wanted me to talk about this on the record, so I will.
Yeah.
What is up with your boy, man? What is up with your boy Gilly? He is
Okay.
fucking
So yeah.
and like I said, he is the last dude to be calling the motherfucker corny. So
Yeah. All right. So yes, eventually we're going to be getting to the topic of health and wellness at 50, and you know, we talked about some 50-year-olds on our last episode, and we start with these two 50-year-olds talking about other 50-year-olds. Yes, Gilly and Cam. Apparently, you need to take me back to the beginning because last week a tree fell on my head and I experienced some magic that the human body has to offer as far as recovering. I mean, I was provided by a kindly neighbor after a tree branch fell onto my head on some Final Destination while trying to assist in another matter. A neighbor ran out with the perfect ice pack. If I was going to make an ice pack for myself, I would have made it exactly how this ice pack, I mean, a Ziploc filled with huge ice cubes wrapped in a paper towel. And I put that immediately that was on my head very quickly after the tree branch fell, as well as two ibuprofen 600s were also in my bloodstream very quickly after the tree branch fell, and those are the only two reasons why I think I did not have a contusion on my head miraculously from and it actually hit my shoulder too a little bit. Like days later, I can still feel the branch. But yeah, the human body is the best computer ever built. We will get into it. But yeah, take me back to what is going on with my man Gilly. I think I came into the middle of this. So where did
okay,
it begin?
so this begins. Cam made some comments in reference to Jalen Hurts, and he was saying that
Cam Newton?
Cam Newton, on his podcast, Fourth and One,
Yeah.
he had made some comments about Jalen Hurts where he basically alluded that he was not a top 10 quarterback and that withstanding his skill set, he's basically the beneficiary of a very powerful offense and a very powerful defense. Gilly took that personally and went on social media. He started calling Cam corny and, talking about the way he dressed and just basically calling him a cornball ass nigga. Like that was his exact words. You goofy ass nigga, you cornball ass, all kind of shit.
Yeah.
Then Cam responds and he's basically trying to, I guess, clarify his point, but he had made the statement in so many words that he wasn't going to take this shit from Gilly, not much longer. At least this is how I got it. But
okay.
Like he proceeded to clarify his point about Jalen Hurts, and basically what he said was he wasn't taking anything away from Jalen Hurts as a quarterback, and that he actually liked him, but he was just stating the facts. And it's true. Like, when you got as powerful an offense and as powerful an offensive line as they have in Philadelphia, like, it's easy to not have to rely on your own skill set as a quarterback. Like, you can just kind of like be in the system. But that's kind of how you should be because it's supposed to be a team sport. But I digress. Now, in responding to Gilly, Cam proceeds to Google this dude's entire career and just point out how like he's never done anything.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like for all this talk, like, and basically he just called him. He was like, he's a great mascot. That's what he called Gilly,
Yes.
great mascot.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I personally agree with that because that's what he act like. He act like a mascot. Like
I
dudes
mean,
running
he
around
ran out. He
with that.
ran out. He ran onto the field like a mascot.
You
You know
know
what
what
I
I
mean?
mean? Like, and nothing against that. Like, you apparently, like you've been able to get close to your team where you could do that. I ain't
Yeah.
knocking that, but
Not at all. Not at all.
like, how you gonna, like I
Okay.
don't know. It kind of goes
So
back.
is this where Gilly starts to undress Cam as a quarterback? Is this where the Manziel conspiracy? How did we get to Manziel?
Honestly, that part I really don't know. I just saw Manziel's comments,
Okay, okay. So to
and
be
basically it was
further
just
a further
Manziel
dive.
saying, like, just reiterating what I just said, like, you the last person to talk about this, like, and, and so, but
I
either
know
way,
I know he was saying that Cam had never won anything and that
what you mean he
essentially,
never won anything? Like, okay, he might not have won a Super Bowl.
well, that again in this Jalen Hurts battle, like he was saying that he never accomplished anything as a professional quarterback, and maybe this is where he said, your accolades are college level, similar to Johnny Manziel. Like I
But
can see where
but
I can
that's
see
not. I
where
mean, but even that statement is not 100% true. Sure, he's never
it's not.
made any Super Bowls, but the man has accomplishments. You know what I mean?
But
Like he's
I did see Gilly holding the trophy, and I guess that was his point, is that like that's the ultimate accomplishment that
okay,
Jalen
granted,
Hurts had Jalen Hurts
but
has that Cam
I
doesn't have.
mean, who the fuck is Gilly to like? Okay, it
He's the
ain't your
mascot.
trophy for one.
He's
It
the
ain't your
mascot.
trophy. It's
He's
like
the mascot. It is
I'm
his
just
trophy.
saying though. No, it ain't his. He basically he just got a chance to hold that shit on Super Bowl night. He ain't got no trophy in his house. Like, and I think that's the part that I have a problem with. It's like, dude, like you just a fan like the rest of us. Like, why the fuck is you even like? Shut up.
he, he happens to have one of the hottest podcasts ever. Like
Yeah,
there's that. There's
yeah,
that.
and I even think he's just benefiting off of his cousin. Like I saw a video.
Ooh,
I guess
ooh, stab.
no. I mean, honestly, like this is just how I feel. This is why I didn't want to have this conversation on record because I don't want to make it seem like I'm trying to add my name into the pot of this whole mix-up because I'm not. But I just always felt this way about your boy. Like I just feel like I don't know, like what has he done? Okay, he was half of that group, but do you remember anything about them? If you weren't from Philly, would you know or even give a fuck who Gilly is?
No.
Let's ask that. Exactly. Which is the point that I said in the beginning. Like, I know you just kind of like, because you got love for Philly, so you kind of gonna like ride for all the Philly guys. But let's be real.
No, but I see your point, that because I followed the the rise, of them, like, and I remember when Wallow was just doing his Wallow thing, and when Gilly was just doing his Gilly thing, and they would collab eventually. And yeah, I think Wallow was more viral than Gilly was, at a time. You know what I mean? Gilly was doing shit on you can see shit. Gilly was doing shit on YouTube very similar to his game thing. Like he was going to different neighborhoods and just in the city and just like talking shit on the corners. You know
Exactly.
what I mean? Yeah,
Well, I
yeah.
don't know
Like,
that. I ain't gonna say exactly like I knew that, but another thing, just to bring it, another thing that Cam alluded to was that even with the podcast, that podcast is only what it is because of Wallow. It ain't like and I'm really not because I don't like doing this. I'm just pointing out what my observations of this whole thing.
Okay,
But
okay.
I did see this one video recently where Wallow had gave Gilly some money for his birthday, I guess, and he gave him, I guess he gave him like, and it's not like he counted it, but I think he had gave him like 10 stacks for each decade or something. I don't know, but the point was, it was a whole lot of cash, and this motherfucker, he pulls the cash out of the bag. Of course, he doing all the dumb hood nigga
Yeah,
shit.
I saw that. I saw it.
Like, yo, use a fucking cornball. Like, this is what I'm talking about. Nigga, you 50. Like, you should not be acting like this. You should not. I don't care. Like, like, it's okay. It's you. I mean,
I
but
see. I'm gonna defend. I'm gonna defend Gilly in
of course
that.
you are, because you can't help
Okay,
but
but,
do.
all right, but I'm gonna defend him like in a biased way. That even though he is a 50-year-old podcaster, 49, he would point out 40. He's a 49-year-old
No,
podcaster.
let's not do that because we are too. So let's not try to make it seem like that's a bad thing.
But I'm just saying that's his. But like in that moment, well, in that video, he was authentically doing
Happy.
rapper shit. You
Yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean?
Like, I
Like, you
get
know
it.
what I mean? Like, and he used to be a rapper. He used to be a rapper. Like he's
I get it. I
so
get it.
like, and I think he was making fun of the fact that like, yeah, that's rapper shit. You know what I mean? It was almost
You
let me
think
be a
he was making
character.
fun of it? I
He was
I
put. He
don't
was
know,
put.
man.
He was. It
I
was.
don't
He was
know if
being a. He was being a character of like
eh,
yes like how rappers
no,
act around the money,
no,
like let's count it out, let's count it out, let's count it out.
no,
Oh no, oh
no,
no, let's not count it out, let's not count it out. Yeah,
no,
that was
no,
my
no.
interpretation.
Okay, I understand where you're coming from, but I'm not letting that slide because I've never seen him act in a manner that would let me believe that this persona that I see is some type of character. No, I think this is his character, and
That's what I'm
nothing
saying. He
against
was
that.
being authentic. No,
No,
I
I'm
think he
just
was
saying, but
authentically being
I just feel like, that's almost like, I don't know. I've always felt this way though. It's like it kind of goes back to the whole social media thing. It's like you put something on social media, everybody has their opinion, but then they want to express their opinion like they know what they're talking about. There's literally a scientific term for this. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna look it up again because I always pronounce it wrong when I try to say this. Hold on. The Dunning-Kruger effect.
Dunning-Kruger effect.
Yes. Now, to put it in, I'll read the technical definition of it, and then I'll tell you what it really means. It's a cognitive bias where people with low ability in a specific area overestimate their competence, while those with high ability tend to underestimate their competence.
Heard that before. Yeah, I've definitely heard
That being said, we just talking about the motherfucker that think he the smartest motherfucker in the room. Like, this is ultimately, but you see that a lot in social media. And I feel like I feel like, especially in football, because we get so like behind our team that we get offended when somebody criticizes them. You know what I mean? And then he's just in the position where he can respond because everybody's done this, but he's in the position where he can respond and the world sees it.
Yeah.
And now you have this fucking situation that's going on. But
Yeah.
that being said, he's really not in a position to talk about this he's not, you can't debate a dude that played in the NFL. And Cam even said that. Like, how you gonna talk? Like, you've never done what I've done. Like, you can't even do what you do well.
It's
Like,
it's
you
a
haven't even been
crazy.
successful about what you've done, and yet you're gonna try to criticize me about what I've done. And that, on that point, I agree with Cam 100%. No,
Okay.
stay in your lane. Stay in your
Okay.
lane. Ultimately, that's
All
what
right.
we say. And let's leave it
Well,
alone.
we'll
But
leave it alone. The one thing I do respect about Gilly is that he is wealthy. and he appears to be healthy, and that's the
Yeah,
topic.
and I'm like I said, I'm not trying. I'm almost proving my own point by having this because I'm not a rapper. So who am I to criticize him over his rap career? It's the
Yeah.
same argument. You see what I mean? It's the same argument. And my point is like it's so easy to get caught up in this because we just get emotionally invested.
Yeah.
But I just think sometimes you just need to like know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, and know when to run. Like because you really have no dog in this fight. And in a sense, I'm kind of just pulling words out of Cam's mouth because I think he said that too. Like you have no dog in this fight. Shut up. You know what I mean? Like
Okay.
now, from podcaster to podcaster, I don't know. Maybe we don't have a dog in this fight, but
I think he again, like I said, I will disagree in that like when you rise to the level of the status of running the team out onto the field, you know, and you
would
know
you rise
the
to the
the the
level?
top the top security representative for the team brings the trophy over to you so that you can flex, you know what I mean, in your current social media beef, you know what I mean, like uh you know, maybe he does have some,
Um,
maybe
um,
he does have some stake in the game, but like to I want to talk about today's real topic,
yeah, let's
you know
just
what I
move.
mean.
Let's move on.
Yeah, and in doing that, like I will acknowledge that, you know, Gilly is wealthy and he's healthy, which is what we're talking about today is health at 50. Your
But he is
body
not
as
wise.
your body as your instrument.
But he
You know
is
what I
not
mean?
wise. And on that, I will move on officially.
Okay, he might not be
Yeah.
wise, but he's healthy and wealthy, which is valuable. Um, and I guess I'll start with that. Like, what do you define health as in definition at 50? Like, do you have any words of reflection, some thoughts as it relates to the concept of health and the human body being 50 years old?
Um. Well, I would. My definition of health, I guess, would just be, like your physical well-being being at a certain level. Now, it's hard to say what that level is, but I mean, at the same time, I think it may all just be relative because like we know people that are age that. I mean, look at somebody like Shannon Sharp. Like we in the same age bracket, but he's clearly a lot in better shape than us. You see
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Like, and that's what I mean by just it being relative. But there is a certain baseline, I think, and I just think that baseline is probably just the ability to fully function as a human without any like serious impediment. I think that would be like great health at 50 or good health.
Yeah.
You know what I
Well,
mean?
yeah. To your point, there are certain body changes that happen around the age of 50 that affect the metabolism, muscle mass, and chronic health conditions. You know what I mean? There are sometimes that is that reality that you know
Oh
that
yeah,
is
that
going
is my
on.
reality. That is my reality.
Yeah, yeah, and that's in today's healthcare system, that's always a battle. That I can testify to as well. Like that. In the end, no matter how much money you have, if you can't physically enjoy it, or mentally enjoy it, there are limitations, which is a good segue because there's kind of three aspects of health. There is that physical wellness, the Shannon Sharp, the actual physical part to the physical parts of your body and like how they are physically doing all the organ systems, the brain and your heart and your lungs and your feet. I was having a discussion with someone about some foot pain that they were having, and reminding them that, like, similar to the houses that we live in and the buildings that we live in, they are only as good as their foundations. And if your foot is off and you're walking in a painful way or walking to avoid pain, in my line of work, I understand that can start to lead to problems. It'll go from the foot to the other hip, or it'll be the knee, your back, your hip. It'll just, if you don't address it, and we're going to get to that, addressing your health and not addressing your health. If you don't address it, it can become worse. You know what I mean? And like in today's healthcare system of trying to save money overall, it's better to be ahead of health conditions to be in back of them. You know what I mean?
Which leads me to a question. I'm
Yes.
glad you brought that up, because I was just thinking of this question. You know how you see these ads where, they have like these, if you're over 40, if you're over 50 and you haven't worked out in a while, like, those type of ads, and they always have some type of little system that they develop where you could get. Do you think that is? Sometimes I just think that the body just. Let me just ask: is it possible to actually like rebuild your body to optimum health and physical fitness at 50?
It is actually. What's hilarious about what you're talking about, though, is you're talking about ads that I often see on social media often, that, like, I swear the camera is taking a picture of my flabby body and sending me ads of how to not have a flabby body. You know what I mean? Like, I swear that, like, I'm getting ads based upon what the camera is seeing. If I take my shirt off, like, I'm getting ads of like how to build your chest up. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So I think that's what you're experiencing too, in that regard, in that example. But yes, to your actual point, yes, you can teach the old dogs new tricks and old humans new tricks.
It's funny that you say that, though, about the algorithms, because I was just sitting here thinking how I tend to see a lot of the ads for like you could just, all you need is like your chair, like it's just all these chair exercises, like things like it's almost like telling
do
you
these,
like,
do this one, do this one, do this one.
Instead of doing push-ups, do this. Instead of doing like, and I'm sitting there like, are you making fun of me? I just feel like, well, nah, I'm joking with that. But what I do notice is how the algorithm seems to try to incorporate my love for Asian culture. Like they try to use that, you know what I mean, to sell me. Because like I start to see this one for Tai Chi, where it's like this supposedly 65-year-old man that has.
Can you show everyone your Asian writing on your arm?
We'll get to that.
Show your commitment to the Asian culture.
We'll get to that. That's a whole different story. But we'll get to that. I can tell that at some point. But yeah, I'm just saying, like, I noticed that, like, it showed me the Tai Chi thing, and then, but it's always that. And that's what made me ask, because it's like I see these ads so much that I just I'm starting not to believe that it's possible. I feel like I'm just being sold these wolf tickets, to try to like get me to download this app or some shit. And, but it's always the same thing. It's like you got the 65-year-old man and he's like, oh, he got the body of a fucking 20-year-old. And he's sitting there talking about basically like he was just recently out of shape. And now he got this body. It's like, come on. Can you really do that? Like, can you really do that, though? Can you
Well,
really? I
that's
mean,
why that's why you wanted me to lead this discussion, because yes, there are ways to get the body better. One of the ways is through diet and nutrition. You can start to just eat nutrition dense foods, fruit, vegetables, lean meat. You know what I mean? Like that's always
define
good.
lean meat because I've always wondered.
Okay, lean meat is usually white meat or steak that has the fat all cut off of it. Like you don't want, when lean is usually lean and the actual fat that is still going into your, because actual animal fat in your body digesting is hard to digest. You know what I mean? So nutrition wise, you want to eat meat that is uh lean. You also want to always, and I can testify to this, make sure your vitamin D levels are up. You know what I mean? When we lose sunlight with seasonal depression time in October, when we lose daylight, that is a time when you definitely need your vitamin D in you from the summer that you stored up naturally through
Pause.
sunlight. Yes. Pause. Which is, it's a whole discussion. I was thinking, I was like, oh, like I think we need to pause and pause, but like we'll pause on that. We'll put a pin in that. Um, but yeah, like vitamin D is important. And like, there are vitamin D supplements that you can take to, again, at 50, make sure your levels are up. So yes, what you eat, you know what I mean? And I am, I was at McDonald's today. I was at Checkers, like, so like I am what I eat, and, but I eat good too. Um, Let it be known. Shout out to the Indian food.
You know what though? I agree with that. I agree with that because, I mean, for myself, and I had to make some changes when I got diagnosed with my heart condition. But it's like now I only like I don't buy all that extra crap that I used to. Like
Yeah.
when I grocery shop now, I literally only buy fruit, and it's only certain fruits because that's just the fruit that's always available here in this region. But I
Yeah.
always I buy fruit, I buy like vegetables, and I don't even buy canned food anymore. In terms of like canned vegetables, I don't buy that no more. Like the vegetables that I buy are fresh vegetables. And like as far as meat, I'll buy chicken wings, I'll buy an occasional salmon
Yeah.
and a couple of steaks. And that's usually what I get.
Hmm.
And like I don't even buy a lot of the meat. I tend to buy a lot of more of the fruit and vegetables.
Good.
And and I could tell the difference because to be honest, I'll just say my digestive system feels a lot better. Like I,
Yeah.
I can definitely tell like I'm not backed up. It happens occasionally
Pause.
because yes. It happens occasionally, I think, because I'll still like have pizza, but I don't eat it. Before it was like I could eat a pizza every week. But now it's just like I really have to just have the taste for a pizza.
Things in moderation. I mean, that's the key. I mean, like I am a diabetic. You know what I mean? And
Uh,
being a responsible diabetic, I switched to unsweetened iced tea as my source of caffeine in my life. And I was just at Giant. These were on sale. Buy five, get five free. You know what I mean? Which saves when I'm driving around getting these from 7-Elevens and their competitors. But yeah, unsweetened iced tea is what I'm often now hunting. And I don't drink soda anymore. You know what I mean? If I drink soda, it's really a treat. So yeah, you are what you eat. You know what I mean? And eating vegetables and fruits and smartly is always good to think about at any age, as far as like reducing your Wait, we also want to exercise. We want to start moving. 150 minutes per week of moderate aerobic activity is recommended. If you can get some strength training in twice a week. When
You
you
got to
are
define
walking,
that for people, what that
okay,
means.
like brisk walking, you know what I mean? Like, not like you're walking down the mall, not like you're walking down the block, you know what I mean? Like, some people walk down the block fast, infused by fentanyl. We're going to leave them out of this conversation. But like, yeah, like, if you're walking intentionally with some brisk walking, you want to get your heart rate going. You want to be huffing and puffing. Your heart is a muscle, just like every single other muscle in your body. It gets weakened, just like any other muscle in your body can get weak. The way you get it strong is exerting it. Yes. So, you want to boost your muscles, you want to boost your energy, you want to boost your mood, you want cardiovascular health, you want to get moving. You want to start moving, you want to go for walks. Walking is medicine. You know what I mean? You can go up and down your steps with intention. You can do steps in place. You know what I mean? You can find time in your day to move. You know, at 50, I think one of my cheat codes is, yeah, I don't like, I'm probably the largest physical therapist you might know, but like I'm constantly stretching. You know what I mean? Like all my muscles, all my injuries, including my most recent injury from my head and my shoulder, you know what I mean? I was able to treat with my knowledge, and I was stretching my shoulder, the whole weekend trying to get it back so that I could go back to being a physical therapist with confidence. But yeah, that's all physical health. Um, and what I found in life, in my career and in life is that like, with everything we need to be doing physical, there is also the mental part of it. And your mental and emotional health is as important as your physical health, at 50, at 25, or at 7. Um, Career pressures can start to show up later in life, aging parents, the stress of children, raising them right. Um, there are some coping mechanisms: meditation, mindfulness, journaling, hobbies. I often feel like this podcast is an outlet for me with some of my mental health challenges, like to have a pulpit to like, vent in an organized fashion. You know what I mean? So like having hobbies can be good for your mental health. Social connections, you know what I mean? Uh, there's a lot of research on loneliness and health, you know what I mean? And people who are lonely often are less healthy because no one else is caring for them. You know what I mean? No one else is pushing them, and uh, that's a bit of a sensitive topic because like it's tough to push your loved ones into healthy directions. You know what I mean? And I struggle with that as someone who does it for a living and wanting everyone around me to be as healthy as they can. But yes, as far as social connections for us all, we want to maintain our friendships. My man right here is one of my oldest friends right here. So we're being mentally healthy by maintaining our friendship. You want to participate in community groups and also family engagement, you know what I mean, with boundaries. I would add, for any family members that may be toxic. Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
What do you think about the mental part of health at 50? Like how are you doing with mental health at 50? Your emotional health at 50?
Um, I have moments when I feel lonely, but I don't think I am lonely. I just think,
You have friends everywhere.
I mean, not, no, I don't mean, well, yes, that is true, but I think it's just because in my immediate life, like I don't really spend time with people. Like when I'm at work, that's at work. But when I'm not at work, I'm usually just at home. And part of that, it's
But
part of that.
doesn't social media count as this social connection? Yes.
I mean, technically, but
I
it's
mean,
not a healthy one. But it's
you're the
not a
king of
healthy
the.
one for me.
You went from phone to
But yeah, you know,
Black Planet.
and I can tell you right now that when you spent your youth like that
Yeah,
at 50, like I don't know, like you. I'll just say this about myself. Like I said, it's not. I don't think that's a healthy environment anymore. And I think at a certain point, I think we really need to just like step away from that. You know, I personally, I wouldn't be upset if like the internet went down, to be honest. But that's not even the whole thing of it.
I've taken. TikTok is not on my phone as much as I make guest appearances there. Like TikTok, I often will put TikTok on my phone, do something, and take it
Well,
off, and I'll play spades. I'll play online spades. I don't have Facebook on my phone
I
anymore.
mean,
Like for
I,
my mental health. For my mental health.
I just think the phone itself
Yeah.
is part of it, but that's not really
The
what I want to
screen.
get into.
Go ahead.
I'm just saying, like going back to my original statement. I spend a lot of time alone, but for me, for someone like me who is always like thinking about things, when you just have all that time to yourself, like you just tend to like get lost in your thoughts or you run away with your thoughts. And that's
Mhm.
not always healthy either. But I don't find myself to be depressed. You know what I mean? Like I'm not, and sometimes it's just like I feel like I'm
Solitude.
getting.
There's strength in solitude. There's strength
Yes,
in
there
solitude.
is, but we're not meant to be that. I
Yeah.
think there should be a healthy balance of that.
Okay.
Everybody should have some me time, but like you should also get out. And I don't mean like because everybody when I have this conversation with people, you know, at work or whatever, you know, everybody's saying, "Well, you live in Vegas, you could just go out." I That's not what I'm looking for. So no, I don't necessarily want to do that. I'm trying to find for me at 50, all I really want is peace of mind in every aspect of my life. You know, and that's part of like why I want to leave Vegas because I know I'm not going to find that here. Like I've always said, Vegas is not meant to like be home. Vegas is just what it is. It's for the tourists. It's just that unfortunately somebody has to be here to operate it. You know what I mean? But it's not really for us. It's just, you know, it's a young
For us,
person.
by us. For it's
Yeah,
not FUBU. It's not for us. It's not FUBU. It's FUBAR.
it's a young person's town, man. Like this is just where you come to party. You know, like I even look at some of like I look at some of like the older people that come here, and you know, I just look at them like this is what you still about. You know what? Because I feel like I'm rambling. Let me get back
Okay,
on
well,
track.
all right. So in the end, the message there is connection can be prevention. That's what the scrolls say as far as like, when it comes to when it comes to isolation and solitude, yes, find a balance between engagement and connection because in the end, connection can be the way to be preventative, uh,
Yeah,
as far as being mentally resilient.
right
Just to
now.
go ahead.
I mean, I because what you asked me was how do I feel about mental health. Now,
Hmm.
there's more to it than that. I won't drag it on. I'll just say that I think part of mental health is also the ability to have a certain level of acceptance for life as it's presented to you. I think that a lot of people get so caught up in what they want their life to be, that they don't take the time, as you always like to allude to, stop to smell the roses. You know what I
Mm,
mean? And just like appreciate life. And I think at 50, like that's where I am now. It's like I don't really care about, like the things that I cared about when I was young, just successful, wanting to be rich. I don't care about any of that. I'd like to have more money than I have. I definitely think that would help matters, but I'm not looking to be rich. Not the rich that, I'm not looking to be, like 50 Cent kind of money. Like I don't want that much money and I don't need that much money. But I would like I would like to establish a certain level of mental comfortability, and that's the
mhm.
part that money is required for. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, so, and by that I just mean like one thing that does get to me is just living paid, check to check. Like I was telling you earlier, it's like I can't outrun my bills for anything. And that's shit, that right there is stressful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's like I feel like I'm just in quicksand.
Yes.
Just I can't get out, but I won't sink. I'm just
Right.
here in the quicksand.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I like to get out. I like to get
Yes.
out of the quicksand, and I feel like I would feel a lot better about my life if I did. But at the
Yes.
same time, I'm not so caught up in that I let it get to me and bring me down. And that's not
Mhm.
to say that I don't have my moments. 'Cause like I said, I have the moments, but
Right.
I try not to let those moments be often. Like
Yes.
I try to, like I said, I just tend to like keep my perspective cool. It's like that's why I always say it is what it is, because it truly is. I mean, you could do something about a lot of this stuff, but you know, if you can't accept what's in front of you, you'll never know. You'll never know. Like it'll just be all forever. Like you just feel like a failure because you're not doing what you want to do. If I wallowed in that, my history, not graduating and all that stuff, and there was a time when that affected me because I felt like a failure because I watched all you guys do it and it was like, what the fuck? And then at some point I just realized like what what can you do? And at 50, it's like, yeah, it was pointless to go back and finish that degree. It would only just be to serve my own ego. I'm not even doing. I don't even care about like engineering anymore. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and truth be told, as far as what I wanted to do with my life, I kind of am. Now it's not. I'm not making a living doing it, but I'm able to do it, and I'm able to still create the impact that I wanted to create by doing it. So, I just I guess I just cherish wins, and I just try to let the rest of it roll off my back. And I find that I'm not going to say like I'm in the happiest place, but I'm not fighting to cope with it. Like I'm cool. I'm all right. You know, I
Yeah.
just
I'm hearing you, and I'm feeling what you're saying, and I just want to acknowledge that, like, what you just did there is talk to your soul, and uh, I appreciate that, and I hope the listeners do as well. To It's a great segue because our next episode is going to be about the money part. You know what I mean? We're gonna talk about trying to get that money part right in the next episode. But to enjoy the money, we have to be healthy to enjoy it. And if we want to enjoy it for another 20 years, 30 years. I hang out with 90-year-olds for a living. You know, the stuff that we can live with for many years. And to that point, we want to be up on our screenings. We want to be up on our vaccinations. You want to do all your screenings for heart disease, for colorectal cancer, for breast cancer and prostate cancer. You want to get your blood work, you know, your diabetes, you know, your sugar levels looked at. And vaccines can be good to help against things like shingles. Trust me, you do not want shingles. Things like the flu. Trust me, you do not want the flu and pneumonia.
I had the flu once in my life.
Say again?
I said I've had the flu once in my life. I'll never forget that. That was the worst 3 weeks of my life.
Yeah, and experience is the best teacher, you know, and in that experience, I suggest, and ChatGPT also does, to listen to your body. When your body is giving you signs to get screenings of things that you have a history for, you know, be proactive with those health signals. And I just wanted to wrap up. I have a way I'm going to wrap up, but before that, I'd like to quickly segue to you to share with me a blunt smoking, token, yokin, some healthier ways to smoke cannabis.
Well, honestly, you just it's the nicotine. Like, you just gotta get away from anything that involves a tobacco-based product. That's all you can really do. I mean, because I don't know. It seems like, to say a healthy way of smoking just seems kind of even weird to say.
But in my opinion, you smoke healthier than I do. Can you share with our listeners how you
all
smoke?
I do is, I don't buy blunts anymore.
Okay.
Even if and I was telling you before, like, even if you still want like a mental comfort, you could just get hemp wraps. I mean, like, they're not quite blunts, but it'll give you more of a blunt experience than papers will. You know what I mean? And it's not tobacco, it's hemp. So it's just more weed. Just you're rolling weed in weed to smoke it. That's what you're doing.
Thank you for sharing. I appreciate that, and I know the listeners do as well. All of the blunt smoking.
Now,
and just to let y'all know, these are like, they got a special on these at the 7-Eleven. It's like a 2 for if you use your.
See what I mean? See how you just promoted it, like.
But I'm just saying. All right, yeah.
Google ad or something like.
I got some natural tobacco leaf cones, smoking cones, hemp cones. Yeah, definitely. I'm trying to move in that direction.
I mean, I really don't even like the hemp cones. I don't like the hemp paper like that.
Yeah.
I mean, once you roll it, it's okay, but it's hard to roll for me because there's no like adhesive strip at all. So you just really got to like be good at it.
Yeah. That's how the natural leaf is. That's how the natural leaf is. There's no glue. You know, that's what my homie was pointing out. He's like, where does the honey come from? Like, that's not natural. You're smoking something, you know, some fake honey. You know what I mean? Like,
it's an extra.
Yeah.
And that it goes, you know, when we were having that conversation about design and all that, it's the same thing. It's like they're pandering to the things that we kind of like. You know what I mean? Like, I remember when I used to smoke blunts, like, I always had to get, it was what flavor was it? Back in the day, like, it used to be like the grape. I used to get the grape a lot. And then like one day I was sitting there, I was smoking it, and I was like, this shit is disgusting. Like it just like how disgusting it was, and then I thought about it.
The grape game was legendary.
Yeah,
Like the great game
but
and the individual,
that ain't
and it was
supposed to
so.
be a. That's not supposed to be a thing, and I think that mentality is what ultimately led to Za, because I think somebody had the realization that no matter what you wrap it in, like that never really affected the weed. You just tasted that on top of the weed, so it was weird. And then somebody ultimately just had the thought to put the flavor in the weed.
Yeah.
And I think that's where Za came from. But that's just my opinion.
Okay, well the
Stay away
episode
from
just
that
hit.
shit too.
Yeah. The episode just hit the 51 minute. You know what I mean? I just turned 51 last week. You're so this is all
Oh,
about
that's right.
50.
Happy birthday, man.
Yeah. Thank you, my guy. Thank you. I just want to finish with a list. Jennifer Aniston, Gwyneth Paltrow, Dave Chappelle, Matthew McConaughey, Leonardo DiCaprio, Kate Blanchett, Mark Wahlberg, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, Adam Sandler, Pamela Anderson, Jay-Z, the rapper Eminem, the rapper 50 Cent, Pink, Sean Combs, Tom Brady, Derek Jeter, Allen Iverson, Shaquille O'Neal, Peyton Manning, Ray Lewis, Elon Musk.
What, these are all people that are 50?
These are all people in their 50s of that impact our world. And
hold up. Because until you said that, what do you mean? Like, okay, now I can understand how some of them do, but I have to ask, how does Jennifer Aniston impact our world at all?
I mean, Friends was an iconic series.
Is your world impacted by that though?
Yeah.
Oh well, okay. I guess it wasn't impactful to my world.
Yeah, I know younger generations will often watch Friends on streaming, when they're binge.
I'm glad you said that though. Not to cut you off, but I have to ask you, did you know that they're trying to reboot the Jeffersons?
No, I did not know
Yes.
that.
Anthony Anderson and Regina King.
Oh wow.
I don't know how I feel about this, man. Like I don't know how I feel about this. Like from what I read, it's generally the same plot line, but I guess it's in a modern era.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm assuming that they'll be addressing these things because the issues that those Jeffersons dealt with still exist. And maybe that's kind of the point. But I just feel like when Netflix does things like this, that I don't know, it's just weird. Like, you know what? Take the Netflix out of the equation because that really has nothing to do with what I ultimately want to say. What I want to say is I just feel like certain shows should not be messed with.
Yeah.
And to me, the Jeffersons is one of them. Like,
it's like Good Times or something. Yeah, it's like some things are unacceptable. Yeah. Cosby Show.
Exactly. No, you know what I mean? Like, even now, well, until they did it, I would have said the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but the way that they did it made it better because they made it they made it a drama. Like, so they did it different. It was different. It was telling the story, but it was different. And that was cool. Now, if you're going to do something like that and you're just going to create a whole new lane for cinema and television, that'd be awesome.
Mhm.
But I feel like they're just trying to recreate this show, you know, for a new generation. And I don't even think a new generation would understand this.
Well, I
You know,
mean, that's a great segue because right now I'm thinking of someone from she's 25 years old. She's my daughter. She's definitely not from our generation. And the reason why I'm thinking of her because she recently moved on up to the east side to a deluxe apartment in the sky. I. And that's all I have for you guys today.
yeah. And on that note, yeah. Thank you guys for listening. This has been episode 25. I don't think we said that in the beginning, but episode 25, Talk Your Soul podcast.
Shout out to the sponsors. Shout out to the listeners. Shout out to Rocco. Rocco, I know you listening over there. Shout out to you,
Yeah,
bro.
shout
Yeah,
out
man.
to you,
Shout out to everyone.
Rocco. And yeah. So, like my man said, next time we're going to finish up this conversation with the financial aspect of being 50. And check us out.
No doubt.
Peace.
Peace.